Have you ever felt your face suddenly heat up, your heart start pounding, and your stomach tighten into a knot, all because of a single awkward moment? Maybe you waved back at someone who wasn't actually waving at you. Maybe you called a teacher mom. Maybe you sent a message to the wrong person. The moment itself might have lasted only seconds, but your body reacted as if something much bigger had just happened. Embarrassment doesn't just live in your thoughts. It shows up in your skin, your chest, your voice, your posture. It feels physical. But why? Why does a social misstep trigger a full body reaction? Why does something as invisible as a feeling seem to hijack our nervous system? And why can the memory of an awkward moment from years ago still make your face flush today? To understand why embarrassment feels physical, we have to step inside the brain, into the wiring of emotion, survival, and social connection. Because embarrassment isn't random, it isn't weakness, it's not even irrational. It's ancient. From the earliest days of human history, survival depended on belonging. Humans are not built to thrive alone. We evolved in groups where cooperation meant protection, food, warmth, and safety. Being accepted wasn't just emotionally comforting, it was biologically essential. Rejection could mean isolation. Isolation could mean danger. So our brains developed systems designed to monitor our social standing constantly. Every glance, every tone of voice, every subtle shift in body language becomes data. Most of the time, this happens quietly in the background. But when something signals that we might have violated a social rule, embarrassed ourselves, or risked rejection, that quiet monitoring system flips into high alert. In that moment, your brain reacts as if something important is at stake. Because to your nervous system, it is. Deep inside the brain sits a structure called the amygdala. Think of it as an alarm system. Its job is to scan for threats and trigger rapid responses when something feels unsafe. While we often associate it with physical danger, the amygdala also responds strongly to social threats. An awkward silence, laughter that feels pointed, a mistake in front of others. To the amygdala, social threat and physical threat share similar pathways. Both can activate the body's stress response. This is where the physical sensations begin. Your heart rate increases to pump more blood. Your breathing changes. Stress hormones flow through your system. Blood vessels in your face dilate, leading to that unmistakable warmth and redness we call blushing. Your muscles tense. Your stomach tightens. Your body prepares for action. But what action? That's the fascinating part. Embarrassment is not designed to run or fight. Instead, it's designed to signal submission and repair. Blushing, for example, might feel like a betrayal. It's involuntary and impossible to hide. Yet, researchers have suggested that blushing actually communicates remorse and self-awareness. It shows others that you recognize the social misstep. In a strange way, the very thing that makes embarrassment feel unbearable might be the mechanism that helps restore social harmony. When you blush or look away or nervously laugh, you are signaling, "I know that was awkward. I care about how this affected you." And in most cases, others respond with empathy rather than rejection. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The brain doesn't clearly separate physical pain from social pain. Studies using brain imaging have shown that areas activated during physical discomfort also light up during experiences of social rejection or embarrassment. In other words, your brain processes a social misstep in a way that overlaps with physical injury. That overlap may explain why phrases like hurt feelings aren't just metaphors. They reflect a shared neurological experience. When you feel embarrassed, your brain is not pretending. It's activating circuits that genuinely register distress. And yet, embarrassment is different from fear. It's different from shame. It's different from guilt. Embarrassment tends to be about specific moments. It often involves witnesses. It's tied to visibility. You trip in public. You forget someone's name. You mispronounce a word. Shame, on the other hand, can feel deeper and more identity-based. Guilt often centers on actions that harm others. Embarrassment sits at the intersection of social awareness and self-consciousness. It requires the ability to imagine how others see you. And that ability depends on another remarkable part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. This region allows us to reflect on ourselves from an outside perspective. It helps us simulate other people's thoughts and anticipate their judgments. Without it, embarrassment wouldn't exist. Young children, for example, don't show the same complex embarrassment responses until they develop a stronger sense of self-awareness. The capacity to think they are looking at me and they might be evaluating me takes time to build. Embarrassment is a sophisticated emotion. It relies on social intelligence. But sophistication doesn't make it comfortable. If anything, it makes it more intense. Because the more socially aware you are, the more vividly you can imagine how others might interpret your mistake. That imagination can amplify the physical response. Your heart races not only because of what happened, but because of what you think it means. Now pause for a moment and consider this. Have you ever replayed an embarrassing memory long after it happened, only to feel your body react all over again? Your face warms, your chest tightens, you physically cringe. Nothing is happening in the present, no one is watching you, and yet your body responds as if the moment is unfolding again. This is where memory and emotion intertwine. When an event triggers strong emotion, the brain stores it with heightened clarity. The hippocampus, which helps form memories, works closely with the amygdala during intense experiences. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the imprint. Embarrassing moments often feel vivid because they carry emotional charge. And when you recall them, your brain reactivates parts of the original emotional network. It's not just remembering, it's partially reliving. This ability once served a purpose. Remembering social mistakes could help you avoid repeating them. It strengthened your understanding of group norms. But in modern life, where social interactions are frequent and often public, this system can feel overwhelming, especially in the age of digital communication.
A single awkward post, an unintended message, a misunderstood comment can feel amplified by the knowledge that it might be seen by many. Even if the audience is small, the perception of visibility intensifies the response. Embarrassment scales with perceived exposure. And that leads us to a powerful realization. The intensity of embarrassment isn't always proportional to the actual event. It's proportional to how significant the social stakes feel in your mind. If you stumble while alone in your kitchen, you laugh and move on. If you stumble on a stage, your body floods with stress. Same action, different context. Your brain is constantly calculating social risk. But here's the secondary hook, the twist that changes how we see embarrassment. What if embarrassment isn't a flaw in our design? What if it's one of the most important social tools we have? Think about the last time you saw someone else make a harmless mistake and blush. Did you feel anger or did you feel empathy? Most people respond with understanding. In fact, seeing someone embarrassed can make them seem more relatable and trustworthy. Psychologists have observed that people who display appropriate embarrassment after a minor mistake are often perceived as more cooperative and sincere. Embarrassment signals that you care about the group. It communicates that you recognize shared standards. Without embarrassment, social life would be colder, less attuned, less human. In that sense, the physical discomfort serves a purpose. It motivates behavior that strengthens relationships. The flush in your cheeks isn't a betrayal, it's a bridge. And yet, not all embarrassment feels light or fleeting. For some people, social anxiety magnifies the physical response. The body becomes hyper-aware of every sensation. A small increase in heart rate feels dramatic. A slight warmth feels like a spotlight. The fear of embarrassment can sometimes become stronger than embarrassment itself. This anticipation activates the same stress pathways before anything even happens. The body prepares for a threat that may never come. But here's something reassuring. The spotlight effect is real, and it works in your favor. Research suggests that we tend to overestimate how much others notice our mistakes. Most people are focused on themselves, managing their own social concerns. That memory you replay in your mind, the other people involved may barely remember it. Your body reacted strongly because your brain interpreted the situation as high stakes, but reality is often softer than our internal narrative. Embarrassment feels permanent in the moment, yet it almost always fades faster than we expect. And over time, many of those moments transform. They become stories. Stories we tell with laughter. Stories that connect us. Stories that reveal vulnerability and growth. Think about the way people bond over shared awkwardness. It creates warmth, not distance. So why does it still feel so intense? Because your nervous system is built to prioritize belonging. At its core, embarrassment is a sign that you value connection. You care how you're perceived. You care about fitting in. You care about the impact of your actions. That caring is not weakness, it's social intelligence. The physical sensations are simply the body's way of amplifying that message. Heart racing means attention. Blushing means visibility. Tension means alertness. Your body is saying, "This matters." And sometimes it truly does. But sometimes it matters far less than your brain assumes. Learning to sit with embarrassment without resisting it can change the experience entirely. When you stop fighting the flush or the racing heart, the sensations often pass more quickly. They lose their power when they're acknowledged instead of suppressed. Embarrassment thrives on resistance. It softens with acceptance. And here's the final reflection. Imagine a world without embarrassment. No one would apologize for minor mistakes. No one would feel compelled to correct awkward behavior. Social boundaries would blur. Signals of empathy would weaken. Embarrassment, uncomfortable as it is, keeps our social fabric intact. It reminds us that we are connected. The next time your face warms or your heart pounds after an awkward moment, try to see it differently. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What is my body trying to protect?" Chances are it's protecting your place in the group, your relationships, your sense of belonging. That physical wave is not your enemy. It's your humanity speaking loudly. And maybe, just maybe, the moments that make you cringe today will become the stories that make you smile tomorrow. If this perspective shifted how you think about embarrassment, let me know. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever experienced a moment that felt overwhelming at the time, but later became something you could laugh about? If you found value in this deep dive into the psychology of human emotion, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more explorations into how your mind and body work together in ways you might not expect. And if you know someone who still replays their awkward moments on repeat, share this with them. It might help them see those memories in a new light. Because embarrassment isn't just a feeling, it's a signal. And understanding it might just change the way you experience your most human moments.